Hey everybody, it's Bruno on MB where it can't all be serious, and we're going to try to keep it serious. Actually, all my episodes, I always say that because you just never know where it goes, but I'm really happy to have my good friend Trevor Johnson from Bullseye Recruitment. You are the president, CEO, CFO. You're the main dog. It's really nice to have you.
Here.
You know what? It's a real pleasure to have you here because as some of the people that watch, they know I've done this for a little while, and you've done this a long time very successfully.
Thank you, Bruno.
So how long have you been in professional recruiting anyways?
So 26 years. I've been,
You don't even look 26 years old. You look
too
great.
kind. Thank you. Yes, I work out.
Yeah. No, we're not going to work out on this stage here right now, I'll tell you. But you know what? Our caption, you are an expert. We joke around. This is probably the hardest part of our show is that I do like to have a little bit of fun. But realistically, one of the reasons why people tune in is because of the caption. It says, we do give some very valuable business information.
Yeah.
And you really frequent the high level, C-level of the accounting suite. So we said top two, hiring mistakes, which cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Let's go up with number two, the second most, and then we're going to talk about a few things and get to number one. The second big mistake that, say, CFO, VP of Finances, controllers make.
Bruno, I think the number two hiring mistake that I would see employers make is that they're not really clear on the leadership requirement necessary when guiding their teams or their staff. And well, I guess teams and staff are the same, but that's really the number one issue is the values and the leadership that they want this person to bring across. I would say is the number two.
You've spoken to a lot of people. Like I'm not even exaggerating because on my little show thing, it says I've interviewed over 100,000 people. You've got to be at that level too. I mean, because you've been doing it probably a little bit longer than I have.
26 years.
26. Yeah. So that is longer than I had. But can you give us an example of when you were talking to a senior manager, which happens often, senior executive, and they really thought they were interviewing correctly or hiring correctly, and they came Trevor. I don't know. I met 10 people and I'm still not getting it straight. You remember an example where and then you made a few adjustments and it made it work?
Well, I had that same conversation today. Hiring manager, owner of a company, 15-person company. It's a little smaller, but still the same concept. This individual has had tremendous success, created, developed a business. And unfortunately, in this situation, she's found that her last 3 hires have not worked out. And so what we determined was that basically it was a lack of clarity. And that, leads to the number one spot. But really it is about clarity in what the job description is and what the requirements for that individual, both from a technical and then the characteristic skills, and characteristic values that you want this person to bring to the table. And so once we brought clarity to what that was, both in job description, longevity of the position, the values that were necessary to deal with the client types they were, as well as the staff they were going to be leading, it became very evident that that's where the errors were, the mistakes, I guess, in hiring.
Well, here it is. I'm trying to be serious because, I know you take this very seriously. We joke around about everything else, but you take hiring very seriously. This is a 26-year commitment of yours, right? How difficult is it for C-level people to kind of go, geez, I don't know how to do that. But once they open up, you can help them. What are some of the things that the CFOs, I'm using CFO, C-suite, but mostly you deal on the senior finance side. What are some of the triggers that they should kind of go, you know what, I better ask somebody like Trevor?
Thank you for asking that question, Bruno. Yeah. What I find, again, is always, what is it that I want this person to do? And it's the relationship between the C-suite and the executive, whether it's a CFO or a controller or director of finance. There's clarity in the technical competencies, but it's the weakness in understanding the leadership that's required, the character values that are important, understanding more so about how to guide some of the difficult personalities in there. Sometimes when we have a leader, they're often put in that position because they've been technically strong before, they're not always the best leader. And so sometimes the C-suite gets the big picture and understands what they want, but they don't always know how to get that. And sometimes an effective CFO, corporate controller, director of finance, they'll be more focused on relationship and teamwork, and that doesn't always go well with the executive because they're more interested in bottom line dollar results and how do we get there.
You know, one of the things that you actually sit in into some of the interviews, don't you? When the clients meet their candidates.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like that is not your unique, that's not a regularly practice. That's that a lot of staffing firms use. You're not in staffing, you're in professional search, but
well,
what do you bring to the table? Like people might say you go into the interviews, but I know you do that. And I know that you walk in and the senior managers are actually happy you're there.
Right.
What is your role in that? Because I know some people are at the C level saying, my recruiter doesn't do that.
Yeah. Not every situation demands that, or not every hiring manager prefers to have that. So it really comes down to the level of comfort that hiring manager has in deciding, I guess, who they want to be part of their team. So the value that I've been able to bring to those interview processes is, as we have gone through that interview process, is as we go through and I'm hearing the answers that maybe differ a little bit from when I originally screened that individual. So, going through and having a one-on-one conversation with that individual is not always the same as when it comes to the meeting with the hiring manager. And so, and also the hiring manager doesn't always have consistency in how they present what they're looking for as well. So, I find that my ability and what I get for feedback is that I'm able to bring the communication into a direct pinpoint communication tied to both the hiring manager as well as the individual that's being interviewed.
I remember, you might not remember this, but I remember a while back working kind of with you, like in the same office in different industries, but you were very clear as to what needed to be done. You were like, and you probably still are, razor sharp, focused with the C-level suite, right? The CFOs, VP of Finance, the senior controllers, and you knew exactly what you were looking for those people.
Right.
I'm sure nothing has changed. Share that with people on how razor sharp you need to be and what's at risk.
Yeah, for sure. So at Bullseye Recruitment, we titled the company Bullseye Recruitment because we wanted a targeted approach to headhunting. It's a pinpoint recruitment process. And so, 11 years ago when we started the company, it was really about continuing that service of clarity, definition, and effectiveness at hiring. So understanding and asking the right questions of the hiring manager, helping them understand, why it is they've had turnover, or how it is the person, or why the last person didn't turn out or survive the position or the company. And that intensity needs to be in every situation that you're interviewing on. What is it that motivates that individual? What is it that the technical requirements are? What is it that their skill-based values are? And how do they, how will they work with that leader? Whether it's a CFO of a corporate, billion-dollar company, publicly traded, or it's the president of a owner-operated situation. And I need to be able to understand fully with an open book what it is they want. And that really ties it into.
I love the name of your company. And it's called Bullseye Recruitment. And you can click underneath to get some information. What's the website? Just
BullseyeRecruitment.com.
I'll make out there. So BullseyeRecruitment.com. I can tell you one thing. My son Mateo would love to work for you because he is a bullseye type of guy. He's a archery, he's all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
send him over.
Oh my God, he'll pick out the right candidate for you. Unfortunately, it's with his bow and arrow.
So our tagline. Hit the mark with Bullseye Recruitment, finding the right people the first time.
Oh, he'll hit the mark with that silly thing. He'll stand in a tree. But in all seriousness, when I say you're razor sharp, you're focused, I rarely came across people in your profession that really knew exactly what they were looking for. And I know that we talked about this kind of briefly, and you're going to say it's the same question. It's not the same question. Is that what do you tell, I guess, potential clients, prospects that want to use your service? You obviously can't deal with 300 requests. Actually, no firms can do that, by the way.
Right, yeah.
How do you kind of screen your clients?
Right.
Because you have to be quite selective because it does take a lot of time.
Absolutely.
What are the criteria?
So clarity
Yeah, okay.
is number one. Understanding what the career path is for the individuals they're bringing on, what they're hiring. Certainly a commitment from them and understanding that this is a process of multiple interviews, and we want to make sure that we're aligning both the organizational longevity as well as with that candidate longevity, and making sure that they're maximizing that person's potential.
And you've touched on it a couple times, I have a feeling, but the number one, I guess, hiring mistake that senior level, C-level suite make in your 26-year career plus, what is it?
Lack of clarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say clarity, is it more on the technical, non-technical, how to interview? You mentioned your process.
Yeah.
It's a commitment to your process. It's not just throwing resumes against it. I'm sorry, that's just not the way it works in your business.
Yeah, correct. So it is about understanding definitely the job scope, the positioning within the organization, the number of staff they're hiring, leading, engaged with, the operational business unit leaders that they're participating with. It really is about how that new hire is going to work with the leadership that's on that team. It's about collaboration. It's clarity, competency, and commitment. And if we have that from each hiring manager that we work with, we're going to have tremendous success in every time.
We're going to be back next time about talking about kind of a interesting, very interesting topic to help the C-level suite. And Trevor, it's always a pleasure. I was just thinking about this while you were talking, is that I think I'm going to start a club of 100,000 plus interview club. It's really rare that I sit in an interview with somebody that has over 100,000 legitimate interviews. And listen, even if we're crappy in our, crap, you're going to get some of them right.
Yeah.
But it's a real pleasure because you're a committed professional in your field.
Thank you.
And we are going to be back for another episode. We're going to talk about some other best practices that you can't miss. And again, it's bullseyerecruitment.com. Under here, click it, and we'll make sure that there's something in it for them. You have a ton of reports that you can send, white papers.
Yeah.
Right, and the bloggish things that you guys do. Tell us about that.
There's great tips on at bullseyerecruitment.com for both the hiring manager as well as the individual in a job search, and you can find those at bullseyerecruitment.com/blogs.
Very good. So click it down here. Anything you guys need, just link in with us. So we'll see you guys next time. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, if you want someone to be our next guest, simple. Click below in the description and we'll get in touch with them. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe, and you'll never ever miss another episode.